Hello guys, welcome back to Beyond the Realms. I'm Jason, and today I'm going to be reviewing a film that I've wanted to check out for quite some time, actually ever since this past Cinema Wasteland show, but I was never able to get a hold of this film until Days of the Dead here in Indianapolis, which if you saw my video on that, you already have seen that I picked this up. But the film I'm talking about today and going to be reviewing is Dear God No. This is an independent film from director James Bickert. I'm not exactly sure if he's done anything before this. I didn't check it out to see. But basically, this is a throwback style film, the fake grindhouse style, that's been pretty popular in recent years, which, I've stated before, I am a fan of this. I can see how people call it cliche and it's overdone right now at the moment, but I dig it. I really dig it, and this is definitely that style film. But the thing I'll say right off bat with this before I get to the plot is, there's many ways that this is even more authentic to that style of film than, say, a Machete or a Hobo with a Shotgun or stuff like that. I'm not necessarily saying it's a better film, but as I'll explain, this is just a little bit more authentic, in certain ways than those films. You can definitely tell that director James Bickert, he's a big fan of an era that's long gone, of filmmakers and films that just don't give a shit how much they offend you. They're completely politically incorrect, and they actually go out of their way to offend you. That's no doubt that's what you're going to experience with Dear God No. So basically, the story of this film, there's several genres thrown into this, but really the way I would describe it is it's a biker film. And basically it tells the story of the Impalers, which are a very ruthless set of bikers. They rape, murder, and pillage everything and everyone they come across. They have no regard for anybody whatsoever, as you'll see throughout the duration of this film. And, it just starts right off, man. They make a statement to show you guys how fucking crazy these guys are. They're attacking and killing these nuns. And, this is all taken very lightheartedly. It's meant to be a fun style film. It's not, serious toned, although it does get serious toned at times, but this beginning just shows you what you're in for. They're killing nuns, and they're not only killing them, I'm going to give a little spoiler here on this opening scene just to give you guys an example of what you're in for. They not only kill these nuns, but, one's laying on the ground. The guy pulls his bike up over top of the nun and just starts doing a fucking burnout on her. And you see the tires spinning and blood flying all over the place. And he's just sitting there doing a burnout on top of this nun until her body is just like flies out from under the bike and is basically just disintegrated. It's a crazy scene, but from right at that opening scene, you know what you're in for with this film. So, you see what these guys are all about, and they end up meeting up with this guy who is, I guess he's basically their boss and like the boss over all of these biker gangs, and he tells them, hey guys, chill out a little bit, you guys are going too nuts, you're drawing too much attention to us. But, they're basically like, fuck you. And then they get into it with a rival biker gang, Satan's Own or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is, but shit just goes crazy and over the top. So then, they want to lay low a little bit, so they head off into the mountains and out into the woods and shit. They want to get away from everything. But while they're out there, they're wondering if there's some rich neighbors nearby that, they can go in and steal shit from. And basically out in this area where they're at, there's this crazy guy. He's like a mad scientist type guy, I guess you would say, that, He does these experiments in his basement on people, and also at the same time there is this Bigfoot that's being sighted out in these woods and all this stuff. So you throw all this stuff into the pot, and you've just got a bunch of absolute chaos and over-the-top violence that ensues with Dear God No. Guys, what I have to say right off the bat is grab some PBR, which is all of the bikers in this film favorite beer. You will see actual Pabst Blue Ribbon throughout this film, which, of course I'm a fan of. And, just grab a bunch of PBR and just start pounding them when you watch this movie. Just do it. I mean, this movie is meant to be a drinking type movie. from that opening scene I talked about with the nuns, you see what you're in for, and you're going to see all kinds of crazy shit in this. You're going to see these strippers called the Nixons, Vixens. I'm almost positive that's what they were called, where they've got these fucking... the one girl has a Richard Nixon mask on, and she's got a machine gun, and she's completely topless and shooting this gun, and it's in slow motion. Her boobs are jiggling, the gun's shooting. I mean, it's just over-the-top exploitation shit. There's plenty of senseless violence, rape, murder, and of course there is Bigfoot in this film. You will see Bigfoot. And I actually like the look of Bigfoot in this. It's pretty cool. It fits the tone and style of this film, without a doubt. Now, the acting in this, you know, it's not good at all, but it's not a problem, you know, because there is a certain, you know, authenticity in this, because, you know, Bickert did use real bikers, which also I have to say James Bickert does have a role in this film. He's one of the impalers in this, and he has some pretty fucked up scenes in this. But, you know, having real biker actors, I should say, in this film, it does bring a certain authenticity to it. It's not like they're just putting on outfits and fake beards and shit. No, these are real biker dudes. The women that you see stripping in this, they're supposedly real strippers from everything that I've heard. You know, one of the things that, you know, where I mentioned that this film has a certain just authenticity to it, is it was actually shot in 16 millimeter. And, you know, they did the typical degrading, which you see in a lot of these throwback grindhouse style films, where it's degraded film. It looks older. It kind of starts off that way. Then it gets really nice and crisp and clean. Then it goes back to it a little bit in the middle. But, you know, it's shot 16 millimeter, and apparently James also used like a camera that was over 30 years old too. So it's a camera from that era. I just thought that it, you know, it has that nice grainy 16 millimeter look to it. It's not like it's digital that's degraded, you know, to look like 16 millimeter. And like I said, they did do a degrading in it, but at least this was actually shot on film. I really like that. Now, you know, it's not all, you know, great with this film. That's why, you know, I can't really say if it's better than Machete or Hobo with a Shotgun, which I really love. You know, there are definitely times where the film falls flat. You know, it's like the beginning starts off really awesome with the nuns and stuff like that, and it's like, damn, man, this movie's going to be a complete roller coaster ride. And then once after that, they get to a strip club. You know, and hey, trust me, I like boobs. I'm a big fan of boobs, but there's a stripper scene in this film, and it just goes on and on and on, and this happens a few times, which it's fine. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I like all that, but it just kind of, it got to a point where it felt like it was filler, like they were trying to fill in too much time, like they didn't have enough story to tell, so they filled it in with just showing this girl strip. And like I said, there's a few times where this happens, and it goes on for several minutes. So, you know, some of you are going to really, really enjoy that. For me, it just felt like it was a little bit too much of a filler, where they could have done a little bit more with the story, told a little bit more than they did. But it's still okay. You know, this film also, you know, it does have some disturbing scenes. You know, some that are really violent, involving the bikers. And then there's also some that that are disturbing for other ways, just because they're sick, man. Like there's a thing in this called the mat shot, and I'm going to go ahead and say this. It's only a minor spoiler, where they're trying to outdo one another. These two bikers, actually one of them's James Bickert. And the guy's like, do a mat shot. And they're like, what the fuck's that? So what it is the mat shot is all the shit that's collected on the bartender's mat over the night. And basically she just picks up the mat, dumps it into a shot glass, and then you take a shot of that. And it's just, oh man. And then also there is a tampon shot in this, which I won't go into, but you can just go ahead and draw your own conclusions on that. But there are other disturbing scenes that I won't mention. You know, I thought it was pretty disturbing. I mean, it's, you know, the effects are kind of just so in them, but you know, for those that's not really hardened on disturbing scenes, will really be disturbed. And people like me that's seen a lot of shit, you know, it's not really disturbing, but it's still, you know, it's a gripping stuff. It goes a little bit more serious in certain scenes than most of this movie is, you know, because most of it's pretty just lighthearted and fun, but it does get pretty dark in a few scenes. But overall, guys, I enjoyed this film. It's definitely not going to be a film for everybody. You know, I'm just a big fan of these throwback grindhouse films. I enjoy them. I just get a lot of pleasure out of watching these. I think it's an era of cinema that's sadly missed, and you know, anytime I see one that's like this, it's really cool. You know, I'm all for moving the genre forward also, but you know, a film like this that comes along, I enjoy it. You know, I've heard some of my friends, like, you know, Tom Headbanger mentioned on our Days of the Dead video, he thought that the artwork was better than the film. You know, and then Zombie Food 2, he really went on and on about this. So, you know, like I said, like the friends that I know that's seen this have kind of been split on this. You know, I'm kind of right in the middle. I enjoyed it a lot. I don't think it's a great film, but it's definitely enjoyable. It's a drinking film. And I've watched it twice already, so you know it's not like I just watched it and put it down. I have already watched it twice because after the first time I watched it, like, man, you know, that was a lot of fun, so I watched it again. So it's an enjoyable film to me. I give this film a 7 out of 10. I highly recommend it for people that like these grindhouse style throwback films, you know, like the Machete and Hobo with the Shotgun, Chillerama, stuff like that. Give this a shot, you know, because this is like the more underground version of those films. You know, those films aren't exactly mainstream, well, maybe Machete, but you know, this is the more underground version of those films, in my opinion. You know, there are pacing problems. You can't expect good acting, but you know, it's still a testament to the era of film that they're trying to capture in this, in my opinion. It worked for me. The Blu-ray looks pretty good, man. I was actually pretty surprised, and this isn't like an actual printed copy. It is actually a DVR signed by the director there, but excellent copy. There are a bunch of there's like 8 Easter eggs on here. And be honest, guys, I didn't get to go through a lot of them because this isn't a film you want to pull out while the little one's awake. And I just haven't had time to really check this out while my son's in bed, so I couldn't really go through, you know, much of the extras on this. There's a commentary on here, which I'm dying to hear. I'm sure it's a fucking load of fun. So yeah, guys, check it out. It's an 80-minute long film. And I think, you know, for a film of this type, that's the perfect running time. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And, you know, for you guys that didn't hear my watch the Days of the Dead video where I mentioned this, I have to say real quick, at Days of the Dead, the director and the guy that plays Bigfoot and then one of the bikers was there. I bought this film, and I also bought Fred Vogel a copy of it because he was talking about one. I'm like, oh, hell, I'll go ahead and pick him up one. So I was buying 2 copies of this. The guys were like, you know, cool, man. They gave me a fucking full original 1 sheet of it for buying 2 copies. And then also James Bicker, he reaches under the table, pulls out a whole 5th of whiskey. He's just like, here, man, you want a shot? I'm like, hell yeah, man. Took a shot. You know, it's just, they're just cool like that, man. They're just cool guys. They have a good time, and they're just fun, man. They're a riot to be around, and I hope I get to actually hang out with them sometime because, man, but I don't know how much I really want to because these guys are the real deal. But I'm sure it would be a fun time. So, guys, you know, check out Dear God No. I know you can get it on Amazon. It's online. You know, it's pretty easy to find. So, yeah, that's it, guys. I appreciate you all watching. I am Jason. You all have a good one and drink some beer. Later.